Hello and welcome to my talk, A Better Experience for Content Editors. My name is Sascha Eckenberger. I'm a senior UX designer at Unique. I'm with the Drupal community for over 8 years now. I'm one of the lead designers of the Drupal design system and Claro, and I'm also the creator of the Chin admin theme. You can follow me on all social media at Sascha Ecki. Make sure you follow me on Twitter for the latest updates on Chin and Claro as well. So in this session today, I will talk about how to deliver a better experience for content editors. I did split up the talk in 3 main areas. So first I will talk about the interface, then about useful or helpful modules, some quick wins basically everybody can do. And afterwards I will quickly talk about the stuff which is supposed to land in core at some point. And finally, like the key takeaways, like what should you take away from this talk? So the interface. Lately, I read a lot of things on the internet that people say that Drupal is complicated, Drupal is ugly, does it still exist? And like the main thing is Drupal looks and feels outdated. We heard that a lot, and because of that, basically like the initiative around Claro, like the admin UI initiative was created. So basically Claro came to the rescue. There was some outstanding work done here by the team, led by Laurie and Christina and others. There are also like dozens and dozens of contributors. It's worth mentioning that like this theme is accessibility first. So we basically put on the stamp on accessibility to make it the main priority here. And yeah, we basically had a talk at DrupalCon Amsterdam last year where we basically deep dived into Claro. But when it comes to the interface, today I want to talk about Chin. Some of you might already heard about it. It's a customizable experience. Basically, it's based on the foundation of Claro and the Drupal design system, but it evolved a lot over the past couple of months. So it's a way more than just a sub-theme to Claro, as some said it would be. And I want to give you just a brief outlook how this interface looks and why you should use it. So Chin has a sleek new layout. As you can see here, it uses quite a different layout than all the other admin themes you know so far. Like per default, we use a vertical navigation approach, as you can see here on the left. We also have like a sticky bar at the top with call to actions. So the content editors or like also the site admins always have a clear visible call to action. And we use like regions with the layering technique. So we have like multiple visual layers, which helps to encapsulate, you know, like content elements and yeah, it helps to distinguish elements better. But I think like the main star or the main reason to use the Chin admin theme is basically the node edit form. As you can see in the screenshot, this has evolved a lot. So I call this an improved editor experience. A lot of users really like it because it reminds them of using a Word or, you know, like a Google Docs because of the main content area in the middle. And you have like the navigation on the left, and then on the right side, you have a sidebar. One of the main concerns I usually hear from content editors is that the preview, published, and save actions are not reachable. So if you basically site building with a lot of fields and, you know, like using paragraphs and whatever, the node edit form can get quite long, and it's really hard to reach the save button if it's at the end. So the user always needs to scroll to the far bottom to just save a node, which is for some users really a concern. And with this approach we take in Chin is basically that you always have like the thing you can see outlined here in orange is basically always sticky and always visible. So you always have like quick access to those actions. As I mentioned before, the content main area is just like a A4 paper. It looks like a paper. It's also visually like a centerpiece for the content area. And we use like a sidebar, which actually also look and feels like a sidebar, which is attached to the right side. Chin provides a lot of customization options. You can basically set up Chin, and if you don't like the vertical, toolbar approach, no worries. We have solutions for that. So you can either use like the default vertical toolbar. But you can also use like a more modern minimized toolbar, as you can see, which just contains one row. But also, if you fancy to use like the classic, I call that the legacy toolbar from Drupal, you're fine to do that as well. I think Chin attracted many new editors and site admins when we introduced the dark mode. So I'm happy to say that Chin is basically the first admin theme which provides you a dark mode which you can enable. It's still experimental, but it already works pretty well with a lot of modules. So check that out. Like all the customization options we have, like you can change the accent color, you can change or enable a dark mode, you can enable a high contrast mode, you can choose the toolbar options, and like to further customize the experience, you can basically enable that users can override their own settings. So if you have site builders who prefer to have like the legacy Drupal toolbar because they're used to it and they're way faster in building sites with that, that's totally fine. Your content editors or yourself, you can basically customize the UI to your liking. You can change the accent color, toolbar, and so on. So you really have like a streamlined experience for each user if you want to. I quickly wanted to show you some examples of some clients we have at Unique, just to showcase you some customized experiences. Those experiences are basically just an uploaded logo, changed, like the colors to a custom one from the branding or from the CI/CD of the client, and then decided if we want to, which toolbar we want to use for those clients. So this is the first example. This is like a drugstore network in Switzerland. It's called Drupal, and it's a multi-site, and we basically use theme settings for each brand. So this brand has orange, another one has a greenish color, and the third one has a red one. So you can really customize the experience for the client's needs, or you could also use it, for the branding of your agency if you want to, go that route. The second one is a multi-vendor marketplace for safety equipment. It's called Sapros. As you can see here, we use the horizontal, the minimal toolbar. It's an e-commerce shop. And yeah, as you can see, it's also quite customized. And it was just like a few clicks in the backend, uploading a logo, and you're done. So you can do that in a couple of minutes. The last one is Graubünden Tourism, which is a tourism site here as well. The branding goes a bit further because we also have a customized login. I will talk about that later, which basically inherits all the customization options from Chin, so including accent color, the logo, and everything. You can download Chin at Drupal.org project Chin. It's also worth mentioning that it's already the default theme in distros like OpenSocial and FormOS, and others are currently looking into it if they want to adopt it or not. You can always shout out to me to, if you need help. Or if you just need features and whatever, then you're happy, or I'm happy to say that everyone is welcome to contribute. Just go to the issue queue, create an issue or a feature request, or whatever you like. And if you feel so, you can also buy me a beer at github.com/shaky. Many thanks also to the main sponsors of this project, which appear to be Open Social and Sriyan. Thanks a lot. Without you, it wouldn't be possible to invest a lot of time to this project. So many thanks. Good. Moving on to modules. So I want to outline some modules. I think like the first few modules are really like stuff you should install in every Drupal instance. Keep in mind that this is not like a final list of modules. I just outline a few highlights. So it's rather a small collection of modules to start with. And yeah, as I mentioned, like the first 3 modules, I think everybody uses already. So let's dive in. Good. So admin toolbar. I think everybody would, like be on the same page if I say this module for sure should be in core. This should be the default. It provides you submenus for all the main menu items in Drupal. It eases the like navigation through the UI. It has a neat feature to add custom entries, to the toolbar. So if you have like modules you want to outline in the main menu or in the submenu, you can do that. And also make sure that you basically enable the admin toolbar extra tools, which provide you more submenus as well. The second one is Coffee. Coffee is really handy for content editors. So if you're new to Drupal as a content editor and you're not so familiar with the UI, this Alfred or for Mac users like this Spotlight quick search is really handy because it provides you like a quick search. You can search things. You don't have to navigate through the UI or to the navigation if you're not familiar where to expect things. Which leads to another problem, which we might address in the future, but from the information architecture point of view. But in the meantime, this is a handy module. And as you can see, it also supports all the customization options of Chin. The field group module, this is a very powerful module. As you can see in the screenshot, I created a field set called details. So this is like an employee content type. We have a picture and we have like a forename, last name, and profession and so on. And with this module, I'm able to basically group fields together that they appear in a field set or in like horizontal tabs or vertical tabs. As you can see in the screenshot as well, horizontal tabs are used to basically break down the content into pieces as well. So this is really, this module really helps to clean up the clutter and easy things for content editors. The next module is Media Library. It's in core, I believe, since 8.8. It's there, you basically just need to enable it. There's also no need anymore for Media Entity Browser with that, so it provides its own widget. It's nicely integrated into Drupal and you really should use it. The next one is Dropzone.js. So as an addition, or it works pretty well with Media, there is a patch you might want to use to basically override all the upload forms in media entities with the drag and drop upload. It also supports multiple file uploads. So content editors basically can just drag and drop some media files and then just, like bulk upload them, which is really, really handy. And we got a lot of good feedback about that. If you're having a site which uses paragraphs, and I believe a lot of you guys do, layout paragraphs is something worth checking out. So it's basically just providing a field plugin widget for paragraphs, so you can easily switch it over to layout paragraphs, and it basically gives you the option to use core layouts, but you can also freely add paragraphs. So it's a more visual approach to paragraphs. You can like drag and drop them. You can layouts from core. It gives you this nice visual overview and preview of content pieces in the backend. It's a really great module, and you can easily switch back to the normal paragraph or the paragraph experimental widgets if you want to. Inline entity form. So instead of just using simple reference fields like the autocomplete field, this can make a huge difference for content editors if you basically want to like enable inline editing of entities like nodes, or if you just want to provide a better visual expression to the content editors, just like typing into an autocomplete field is not the same as like choosing from a content browser, which is the next one. So you can use entity browser for that, which provides you like a nice, as well, like a nice overlay, like the media selection, where you can choose your entities, your nodes, for example, of a specific content type. So in this example, we would use we would choose the employees, and afterwards you also you can set like a like a view mode and edit the view mode that it appears nicely in the backend. So you have just like a rich snippet of the content you refer to, instead of having a list in example in an autocomplete field. It's really, really handy. And last but not least, it would be the Chin login. So we saw a screenshot earlier, in the branding example. So if you tend to have a decoupled site, like a headless site, instead of just creating a nice looking login, you can just install Chin login. It provides a nice out of the box experience for a login screen. And as I mentioned before, it basically supports all the customizations options of Chin as well. There are a lot more modules. Some of them are also, I think there are like talks about some of the modules at this DrupalCon, so check them out. Like the autosave form, content lock, responsive preview, paragraphs EE, and Gutenberg. If you want to go another route than with paragraphs, these modules are worth a look to like further improve the experience for content editors. Good. So let's talk about some quick wins. So basically, how can you improve the content editor experience with very little effort? Like, changes which only take a couple of minutes, but can make a huge, huge difference to content editors. So the first thing I would recommend to do is basically create custom admin views in the backend. As you can see in the screenshots, usually you have the content, the files and media tabs, but you can easily create new admin views, example for persons here, or for like employees or whatever content types you have. And then you can change the view to showcase, in this particular, like example, we want to show the face of the person. We want to show the last name, the first name. Maybe you want to show the birthday or the email address, like relevant content for the content type itself. So this can make a huge impact, in enhancing the management experience for content editors a lot. The second thing is you can use Ajax for admin views. It's literally there. It's not enabled by default. So you can just use Ajax for all the views, for all the admin views, which provides you a more responsive and modern feel to those views. So, like the filtering and the search functionalities are basically instant, and you don't need to always have like this page load in between. So this can be quite a good enhancement for content editors as well, that like Drupal look and feels more natural and more modern. So using the field group module, I think this can be also a very, very good enhancement to, like group elements together, which belong together. I think that's the important message here. So basically in the example below, you can see that we use tabs here to group the API, which is called Discover Swiss information, geo information, media, tour information, just to have like content pieces and not like having a free form, which is very, very long. And, you know, like, so better split up content into chunks. You can use tabs, you can use vertical tabs, accordions, field sets. The field group module basically provides you a lot of options. Use field descriptions. So in Drupal, you can use prefix and suffixes and also help texts. And I think this can also make a huge difference for content editors. So basically, you can show them what the system expects for them. In the shared example below, you can see we have a duration and we have the height. So basically, for the duration, if I wouldn't write it, that we expect, you know, from the content editors that they provide it in minutes, they could also provide it in, for whatever reason, in seconds or hours or days. But, you know, like with that, we can basically just guide the content editor a bit better and show him what what Drupal expects from him. Also in the height example, we show that we want to have it in meters. So we make an assumption here that we want to have the metric system and not the imperial one. Also with the help text, we can say, provide us the minimal height. So if you have a minimal and a maximum height, please provide us the minimum one. This really helps the user, you know, like the content editor, to fill in the right informations. It's also very helpful for new content editors to onboard to your system, so they have like a guidance on what to expect. This is something you can do literally in 2 minutes, but I always see sites which don't use it. So you can basically provide, you know, for a true, what you see is what you get. For a true Wysiwyg experience, you also need to provide like the styling of your front end. You know, in the info YAML file of your front end theme, you can add these 2 lines, like the CKR editor style sheets and the path to you know, like a custom style sheet or to your main style sheet, which just contains basically like all the text styling. You do a drush CR, and then the content editors basically have a live preview of how to perceive, you know, like text and listings and headlines and everything in the Wysiwyg editor. So I think every site should use that, because otherwise it's not a true Wysiwyg experience. If you tend to use Chin, there's a new feature since Alpha 31. So you can provide a Chin custom CSS file. You can place that in your public files directory, which is normally sites, or per default, it's sites default files. You basically just put in all the overrides you want to do to customize your Drupal backend. So for small adjustments like logo size, or you want to just override some functionalities or visually override some functionalities of Chin, or enhancing stuff, or you know, customizing stuff, there is no need anymore to do a sub theme. You can easily just, for smaller adjustment, use this CSS adjustment file. Another thing, if you use the paragraphs module, you should use paragraph icons. So each paragraph type can use an icon. This helps content editors, you know, like visually, basically to keep the different paragraphs separated from each other. So there's an open source icon library called Feather Icons, which really fits nicely into Chin as well. So you can use them. They're open source, you know, just to use them as icons for paragraphs. Again, if you use paragraphs, try out the experimental field plugin widget, which is there for, I don't know, it feels like it's there forever, and it's forever experimental. But if you use the experimental field plugin widget, then basically Chin provides you this new modern way of outlining the paragraphs. So it uses enhancements in the Chin theme to just provide you a more modern approach to paragraphs in general. Also, you know, this might require some more work, but it's worth it. So you can also use a view mode. You can use a preview view mode for paragraphs, and you know, if you use to showcase like the paragraphs in a preview in the backend, you basically can provide styling for them just to give content editors a better preview of the content, which can reassemble a bit like or outlining how content will look like when published in the front end as well. So it's easier to identify and gives them a rough preview. If you use layout paragraphs, on the other hand, at Unique, we basically created a custom implementation to render the paragraphs in the backend with, you know, like the front end paragraphs. So this is a bit more effort than the last one you saw, but it basically renders the real front end, you know, like styling and template in the backend. So content editors have, if they want to have a more visual editoring experience, which goes more into, you know, like direction of other CMSs, then basically they have like a live preview of content chunks in the backend. Good. You know, as you might have read through like this, you know, like talks description, I said I will provide a demo repository, and I did that on the weekend. So basically I updated my Drupal Lando starter kit, where you can get from this URL. And I integrated a lot of the features and enhancements we had a look at today. So basically you can check that out. It's quite easy to install. You can dive in and maybe, you know, use some stuff as a reference. Good. So I also want to give you a brief outlook of what's expected to land sooner or later in Drupal core, or, you know, like open issues and stuff. So I think the most important thing currently to date, well, at least from my perspective, is that we're getting Claro stable in core. As Chin relies on it, and also that Claro out of the box, you know, like provides you a very nice out of the box experience for Drupal. This is a very, very important thing. And this is the issue where you can basically go into and help out if you want to. Then there's another issue which basically wants to add a content editor role to the standard installation profile. This will be very handy in the future to further customize the experience, you know, like specifically targeted for content editors. So having this role in the default or in the standard installation profile will help with a lot of customizations in the end in the future. There's also a proposal to make the admin menu as a config. So there's a proposal with a working patch. You should check that out. So this potentially provides a custom menu specific for content editors. So you could set up a menu which specifically address the needs of content editors, you know, like to just don't show them like all the configuration options, you know, like you might need to build up the site, but rather provide them main menus, which they like, for example, a content menu, maybe a media item, and so on, like really stuff they're working on, and which will be very, very handy for content editors. And there's another proposal to make the admin views basically use Ajax per default, so that you don't have to do it manually. I think that will also be, there is one thing we need to consider or to fix that we can do that, but yeah, so this is also something I'm really looking forward to discuss if we want to do that in the future. So what are the 3 learnings or key takeaways, you know, you should take out today from this talk? So the first thing is that site building is crucial. I think the site builder has a very important role in your team, and we should embrace that. So the site builder is basically in charge of building a great user experience for content editors. You know, I think it's also important that you review like the sites you build in the backend also with the UX team, you know, to outline how the content is structured, how it's visually shown to the content editors. And that leads me to the second point: don't overdo it. Like, always keep in mind or always think if you would use it yourself. So usually less is more. Don't overdo it. And if you don't find the fields or the content you're looking for, the content editor most likely won't find it either. Just keep that in mind. And in general, the experience is king. So a good user experience will always help with adoption. And I mean that in two different ways, like in adaptation for your product or site or platform or distro or whatever you're building, you know, like to onboard new content editors or new users to your platform. But also it will help, like if you provide a great user experience, it will also help with the adoption of Drupal in general, because people will talk about it, they will show it to other persons, to other people. And in the end, Drupal will be the big winner. So I was a bit faster than expected, so that's basically already it. I wanted to mention two more things. So first of all, there will be Birth of a Feather called Chin Admin Theme tomorrow at 10:30 a.m. So if you have any questions or you want to discuss feature requests or, you know, stuff which bothers you in the Chin Admin theme, everybody is more welcome to join and to discuss like the future of the Chin Admin theme tomorrow at 10:30 a.m. There will also be contribution this Friday. Let me know if you're interested to do some work on Chin. If not, I would highly recommend that you join the Claro contributions, because this will also, you know, be in favor for Chin. Yeah, and at the end, please give me feedback. Let me know if you like this session. So it was quite a packed session, but also addressing beginners as well, hopefully. And now I will be ready to take on questions.
So you have quite a few questions. Do you want to go through them, or shall I pick some?
I'll let you pick some.
Okay. So let's go from first. The toolbar can be personalized by user. I guess everyone in content teams feels differently about options.
Can you repeat that? Sorry.
The toolbar, can it be personalized by the user? I guess
Yeah.
everyone in, yep, go ahead.
Yes, it can. So in Chin, you can enable a setting called, you know, like to let users override the default behaviors. So every user for its own, or like every user who has like a user account in Drupal can basically override, you know, those settings. So they can use whatever toolbar they like. Yes.
Does Gene work nicely with Layout Builder?
It does support it. I think they're the same issues as Claro have currently, but there's a nice module built for Claro, which works totally fine with Chin as well. I think it's called LB layout or something like that, or CB layout. I don't remember the right name, but there's a module for that which provides you like a nicely styled interface until we basically got that fixed in Claro and Chin.
How do you handle problematics like providing your client a custom admin menu while still providing the default administration menu to your team? Are there any modules you use in these cases you'd recommend?
I think there's a lot of things which currently go in this direction, but I think in the end, the goal should be that you can assign a menu to a role. You know, if you have like this content editor role in Drupal core in the installation profile, and we would have basically like a feature like that you can customize the menu in Drupal core, then you could just assign a customly created you know, like menu to each you know, like for example, for the content editors, for the site builders, for other like administrators and so on. So like for all the different roles. that would be one of the possibilities to tackle that problem.
We have two questions about the save button. When the save button is at the end of the page, it can be easily reached by hitting the end key on your keyboard without the need to use any scrolling. Will home work the same way to get you up to the save button?
It should, yes. If not, create an issue for that, please.
And a follow-up question to that, if you use tabbing to move from field to field, are you jumping up to the top of the page to save once you have reached the last field?
There's no need for it because the save button is sticky, so it's basically fixed at the top of the site. So the focus will just switch over to this sticky bar. So that's basically how we tackle that.
Joris is saying he really likes the look and feel of this theme. Is there an ETA for a stable build?
Yeah, there's no ETA for it, but we're very, very close to release the first beta build. So I think from a standpoint, if it's stable or not, the theme is already quite stable. But like each maintainer takes that differently, what a stable build is. And I really want to have it stable before doing a stable build. And I think as long as Claro is not stable, Chin cannot be stable as well, because that would be, a bit weird.
What do you recommend to have help text description for long text fields or other tall fields? Because default Drupal description under the field is not too useful in this case, in my opinion.
That's a really good question. There's also a module which basically gives you the option to place a help text above, like a field. So this could be maybe or potentially a solution. But yeah, I mean, another solution would be that you could place like a sticky, like a sticky help text to the right of the field, for example, if you limit the width of the field. But there's no module I would know that can provide that. But you could customize that in the Chin custom CSS file. So you could basically provide this with some CSS overrides if you like to.
What about nested paragraphs in Chin? When will the duplicate handlebars issue is likely to get solved?
There's no ETA for that because it's basically a core issue. If you head over to the Chin issue, to the Chin project overview, I linked there basically the issue in Drupal core with like the relevant patches you need to get that working. It's the same issue with Claro as well, like Claro in core, but I think this should be solved with the next release of Claro.
Accessibility is important for all users. How accessible is the Chin admin theme?
Yeah, as like we have quite a strong focus on accessibility in Claro, and Chin basically inherits the whole templating system and the whole design system from Claro. It should also be quite accessible. There's still like outstanding tests. There are also some elements which might be a concern currently, which we're looking into how we want to fix that from an accessibility point of view. So accessibility will also be a high priority for Chin as well in the future.
Are roles additive, which is chosen then?
Can you repeat that? Sorry.
Are roles, but roles are additive, which is chosen then. This was asked by Ifrik. I'm not sure if it's clear. Maybe
not really to me.
Follow-up question. Okay, and while we are waiting for maybe some clarification on this, can you please repeat when the BOF will be? And I guess it's going to be CET, but what will be the time?
Yeah, so it will be tomorrow at 10:30. Like, yeah, CET.
Thank you. Awesome. And also, I see that people have asked if you're going to upload your slides somewhere.
Yes, of course. I will upload the slides. I will do like a tweet about that in a couple of minutes, so you have like the slides on hand if you like. So of course, I can do that.
I think we're good then.
Good. Thanks a lot again. And yeah, if you have any further questions, join tomorrow. Yeah, there's also a session about autosave, you know, from Kronov. So maybe tune into that tomorrow as well, because this is also quite a good improvement for content editors. So they don't have the need to hit that save button all the time. Check that out. And yeah, everybody is welcome to the BOF tomorrow. And otherwise, I will hang out the whole week at DrupalCon. Feel free to reach out to me if you have any further questions.